I pulled into the driveway at 6 o'clock, just like every Thursday for the past 3 years. The house looked different. All the curtains were drawn tight. Even though the sun was still up, my granddaughters usually pressed their faces against the window when they heard my truck. Not today. The porch light was off. Something felt wrong in my chest. That grandfather instinct you can't ignore. I knocked twice. Brandon answered, blocking the doorway with his shoulder. His face was blank, emotionless, like he was looking through me instead of at me. "We had a disagreement," he said flatly. "You can't see the kids anymore." I stood there confused. "What disagreement?" "Brandon, I don't know what you're talking about. You know exactly what I mean." His voice was cold, final. Behind him, I saw movement. My daughter Emily's shadow appeared in the hallway. She stepped forward slightly, then suddenly pulled back into the darkness. Her movement looked wrong. Scared. "Emily?" I called past him. Brandon stepped further into the doorway. "She doesn't want to talk to you either." Then he shut the door in my face. I called Emily 17 times that night. Every call went straight to voicemail. I left messages asking what happened, begging her to call back, promising to fix whatever I'd done wrong. Nothing. At midnight, I drove back to their house. My hands shook on the steering wheel. The entire house was dark. Both cars were gone. They'd left, but where? I sat in my truck across the street for an hour, waiting. No one came home. The next morning, I tried again. Still no answer. I called Emily's work. They said she'd taken unexpected time off. I called Brandon's office. They said he was working from home. That afternoon, I drove back one more time. As I was leaving, their neighbor Mrs. Patterson walked past my truck. She was an older woman who always waved at me during my Thursday visits. This time she didn't wave. She looked around nervously, then reached through my open window and pressed something into my hand, a folded piece of notebook paper. She walked away quickly without saying a word. I unfolded the note. For words in shaky handwriting. Something is wrong inside that house. The next day, I showed up at Brandon's office downtown. The receptionist called him, and he came down looking annoyed. "We need to talk," I said. "There's nothing to talk about, Howard." He crossed his arms. "You threatened me. You sent me threatening messages." My stomach dropped. "What?" "I never threatened you." He pulled out his phone and showed me a screenshot, a text message from my number saying, "You better watch yourself. I know where you live." I stared at it in shock. "Brandon, I didn't send that. I would never." "It's from your number." "Let me see my phone." I pulled it out and scrolled through my messages. There was nothing. No sent message to Brandon. Nothing even close to what he was showing me. "This doesn't exist on my phone," I said, showing him my screen. "Then you deleted it." His face was stone. "Why would I delete it and then deny sending it?" "Brandon, someone is setting me up." He stepped back toward the elevator. "Stay away from my family, Howard. I'm warning you." The elevator doors closed. I stood there holding my phone, my hands trembling. Someone had faked that message. But who? And why? 3 days later, Maplewood Elementary called me. I recognized the secretary's voice immediately. "Mr. Howard, I'm calling about the emergency contact list for Sophia and Emma." "Yes." "You've been removed." She sounded uncomfortable. "We receive a request from their father." "Removed? I'm their grandfather. Why would—" "There was a complaint filed, sir. I can't give you details, but the school has to follow the parents' wishes." "What kind of complaint?" "Silence." "Then, I'm sorry, Mr. Howard. The complaint is sealed. We can't discuss it." "Sealed? What does that even mean?" "I really can't say more. I'm sorry." She hung up. I sat in my kitchen staring at the phone. A sealed complaint. Removed from their emergency contacts. Fake text messages. What was Brandon doing? I called my daughter again. Voicemail. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about Emily's face in that doorway, the way she'd step back into shadows. Scared. My own daughter was scared, and I didn't know why. The next morning, I decided to check my workshop in the backyard. I'd been so distracted, I hadn't been out there in days. The door was cracked open. I always locked it. I pushed the workshop door open slowly. Everything looked normal at first. My tools hung on their hooks. My workbench was clear, but something felt off. Then I noticed the drawers on my filing cabinet were slightly open. I always close them completely. Someone had been searching through my things. I checked the contents. Nothing was missing, but papers were out of order. Someone had gone through my personal files, my financial documents, everything. I stepped back and looked at the floor. There in the dust near the door was a single footprint, clear and recent. I knelt down and measured it with my hand. Size 11. Brandon wore size 11. I'd helped him pick out hiking boots last Christmas. My heart pounded. He'd been in my workshop, searching for something. But what? I locked the door behind me and went straight inside to check my home office. More signs of someone going through my things. Papers moved. Desk drawers not quite closed all the way. Brandon had a key to my house. Emily had given him 1 year ago for emergencies. I'd never thought to ask for it back. I changed all my locks that afternoon. On Sunday morning, I went to Riverside Market hoping to see Emily. She always did her grocery shopping there. I waited near the produce section for an hour. Then I saw her. She was pushing a cart, moving slowly mechanically. Her face was pale. She looked thin, like she hadn't been eating. Her eyes were fixed on the floor. "Emily," I called softly. She looked up. For a moment, I saw recognition. Fear. She glanced around nervously. I walked toward her. "Sweetheart, what's going on? Talk to me." She shook her head slightly, her eyes filling with tears. "Don't come near the house," she whispered. "Please, Dad. Just stay away." "Emily, I don't understand." Suddenly, Brandon appeared from the next aisle. His hand clamped onto Emily's shoulder. She flinched. "I thought I told you to stay away from us," he said, his voice low and dangerous. "I'm talking to my daughter." "No, you're harassing my wife." He pulled Emily backward. She didn't resist. She just looked at me with terrified eyes as he dragged her toward the exit. I stood there frozen, watching them leave. Other shoppers stared at me like I was the problem. 2 days later, I found a note slipped under my front door. I almost stepped on it when I came home from checking my mailbox. I picked it up. Plain white paper, folded once. The message was printed in block letters. "If you keep pushing, you'll regret it." No signature. No return address. Just a threat. I turned the paper over. On the back was a small logo, a decorative E with flowers around it. Emily's personal stationery. She'd had it made 3 years ago for thank you notes. This note came from her house, from her paper. But Emily wouldn't threaten me, which meant Brandon wrote, disusing her supplies. He was escalating, making it clear he was in control. I took a photo of the note and saved it. Then I locked it in my fireproof safe. Whatever was happening, I needed to document everything. That night, I barely slept. Every sound outside made me jump. Every car that passed felt like a threat. Brandon was watching me, trying to scare me away from my own daughter and grandchildren. But I wasn't going to back down. Not when Emily was clearly in trouble. Not when those little girls needed me. The next morning, my bank called. My voice shook when I answered. "Mr. Howard, this is security services at Mountain Valley Bank. We detected 3 failed login attempts on your online account last night." "Failed attempts?" "I didn't try to log in." "We know, sir. That's why we're calling. The attempts came from an IP address in the Riverside Heights neighborhood. We've temporarily locked your account for security." Riverside Heights. That's where Emily and Brandon lived. "Can you tell me the exact address?" "We can't provide that level of detail, but we can confirm it wasn't your registered location." I thanked him and hung up. Brandon was now trying to access my bank account. Why? What was he looking for? That afternoon, I drove to their house and knocked on the door. Brandon answered with that same cold expression. "You tried to hack my bank account," I said. He smiled. Not a friendly smile. A winner's smile. "Prove it." The bank traced the IP address. IP addresses can be spoofed. Howard, anyone could have done it. He leaned against the doorframe. You're too old for this fight. You should just let it go. Where's Emily? She doesn't want to see you. Let her tell me that herself. No. He started to close the door. I'm not giving up on my daughter, Brandon. He paused. Then you're going to lose everything. The door slammed shut. A week later, Emily's best friend Amanda called me. We'd always gotten along well. She sounded nervous. Mr. Howard, I need to show you something. Can you meet me? We met at a coffee shop across town. Amanda slid a small notebook across the table. Blue leather cover, worn at the edges. Emily left this at my house months ago. I just found it cleaning out my guest room. I read it. You need to see this. I opened the notebook. Emily's handwriting filled the pages. Journal entries dating back 8 months. March 15th. Brandon checked my phone again today. He says he's just making sure I'm safe, but it feels wrong. April 22nd. He got angry when I mentioned visiting Dad. Said I spend too much time with my family and not enough focusing on our family. May 30th. He made me delete Dad's number from my favorites. Said it was disrespectful to put my father before my husband. June 18th. I can't talk to anyone anymore. Brandon says my friends are bad influences. I feel so alone. July 8th. He yells at the girls when I don't do things exactly his way. I'm scared of... The entry ended mid-sentence. The rest of the page was blank. So were all the remaining pages. If anything happens to me, were the last words she'd written. Amanda's eyes were red. I should have known something was wrong. She stopped answering my calls 2 months ago. Mr. Peterson, the neighbor who lived 3 houses down from Emily, stopped me at the grocery store. Howard, I owe you an apology. For what? He looked embarrassed. Brandon came by a few weeks ago. Told me you'd been acting strange. Said you had violent tendencies and we should keep an eye out. I believed him. I'm sorry. My blood went cold. He told the neighbors I'm violent? Not just me. He talked to everyone on the street. Said you've been threatening him and Emily. That you had some kind of mental breakdown after your wife died. My wife died 11 years ago. I'm fine. I know that now, because yesterday I saw something. He pulled out his phone. Brandon sent this to the neighborhood group chat. Said it was from you. He showed me a screenshot of a text message from my number. I'm coming for you and your family. You can't hide from me forever. I felt sick. Mr. Peterson, I didn't send that. Look at my phone. I showed him my messages. Nothing. The text didn't exist in my history. His face changed. He's faking these, isn't he? Yes, and I don't know how to prove it. Mr. Peterson stared at his phone. I'm saving this. If you need a witness, I'll testify that the metadata looks off. I work in IT. The screenshot was edited. At 11:47 that night, my phone buzzed with voicemail notification. I'd been lying awake, unable to sleep. The number was blocked. I played the message. At first, there was only silence and the sound of water running. Then Emily's voice, barely a whisper. Dad, it's me. I'm in the bathroom. He doesn't know I'm calling. Don't believe anything Brandon tells you. He's been lying about everything. He's controlling everything I do. He took my phone, my car keys, my bank cards. He reads all my messages. He listens to all my calls. I don't know what to do. I'm so scared. The girls are scared. He told them you don't love them anymore. He told them you're dangerous. Dad, I need... Footsteps in the background. Heavy, deliberate. Getting closer. Emily? Brandon's voice, muffled through the door. Who are you talking to? The recording cut off abruptly. I sat up in bed, my heart hammering. I tried calling back. The number didn't work. I tried Emily's number. Straight to voicemail. I saved the recording to 3 different places. My phone, my computer, and a flash drive. This was evidence. Proof that Emily was being held against her will. But would anyone believe me? 4 days later, a certified letter arrived. Legal notice from Cascade County Court. Notice of temporary restraining order hearing. Brandon had filed for a restraining order against me. The petition claimed I'd been harassing him and Emily for weeks, that I'd sent threatening messages, that I'd shown up at their house repeatedly despite being asked to leave, that I'd demonstrated erratic and potentially dangerous behavior. Attached were screenshots of text messages I'd never sent, photos of me outside their house that made me look like I was stalking them, not just visiting my grandchildren. A statement from Emily saying she felt unsafe around me. Emily's statement. Her signature was on it, but the words weren't hers. I knew my daughter's writing voice. This wasn't it. Then I saw the metadata on one of the photos. The timestamp said it was taken 3 days before Brandon ever told me to stay away, before this whole nightmare started. But the image showed me standing on their porch looking angry. The photo was real, but the context was a lie. I'd been standing there laughing at something Sophia had said. Brandon had cropped out the girls in my smile, making it look threatening. He was building a legal case to destroy me. I called my old friend Vincent, who still worked at the courthouse. We'd served on a community board together years ago. Vincent, I need your advice. Completely off the record. We met for lunch. I explained everything. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he leaned back and sighed. Howard, I've heard stories about Brandon Pierce. Nothing official, but rumors. He's got money, connections, and he's been through this before. What do you mean? His first wife filed for divorce 8 years ago, claimed emotional abuse, financial control, isolation from family. The case disappeared. Sealed records. Word is Brandon paid her a lot of money to go away quietly. She moved to Colorado and never spoke about it again. My stomach turned. He's done this before? According to people who know people, yes. And recently, he was asking about your will, about Emily's inheritance rights. My will, Vincent nodded. He wanted to know what happens to your estate if something happens to you. Who gets control if Emily is a widow versus if she's divorced? The pieces clicked into place. Brandon wasn't just isolating Emily. He was securing his financial future, cutting me out so he could control everything. He's trying to eliminate obstacles, Vincent said quietly. 2 nights later, I came home to find my front door unlocked. I always locked it. Always. I stepped inside carefully. Nothing looked disturbed at first. Then I walked into my office. My filing cabinet was wide open, every drawer pulled out, papers scattered on the floor. I checked what was missing. Financial documents, insurance policies, my will, medical records. All gone. Everything except one piece of paper. Sitting on top of the empty cabinet was a court stamp form. Yellow paper, official seal. Statement of concern, printed across the top. Filed 4 months ago. By me. I'd forgotten about it. After overhearing a horrible argument between Brandon and Emily during a family dinner, I'd gone to the courthouse and filed a formal statement. Just a precaution. Documenting my concerns about Brandon's behavior toward my daughter. The clerk had told me it would stay on record. Time-stamped. Permanent. Brandon had found in my files. He'd taken everything else, but left this behind. A message. He wanted me to know he'd found it. But what he didn't know was that the original was still at the courthouse. This was just my copy. And that original might save everything. The next morning, I drove straight to the courthouse. I found Janice, the clerk who'd helped me file the statement. Janice, I need to confirm something. That statement of concern I filed in August. It's still on record, right? She typed into her computer. Yes, Mr. Howard. Filed August 19th. Still active. Heavily time-stamped with date, time, and original signatures. Relief flooded through me. Can anyone delete it? Not without a court order. And even then, there's a digital backup. Why? Someone broke into my house and stole my copy. I think they wanted to destroy evidence. Her face went serious. The original can't be destroyed, Mr. Howard. It's part of the permanent court record. And if someone tried to interfere with it, that's a crime. I thanked her and left. The statement was safe. Brandon couldn't touch it. That document was my insurance policy. Proof that I'd seen the warning signs months before he started his campaign against me. Proof that I wasn't crazy or dangerous. I was a grandfather protecting his family. Now I just needed to make sure it was presented at the right time. 3 days passed with no word from Emily. I called. I texted. I even sent a letter to the house. Nothing. Then Brandon called the police and reported Emily missing. He claimed she'd left after an argument and hadn't come back. He said he was worried, scared something had happened. The police called me for an interview. I told them everything. The isolation, the control, the fake messages, the voicemail. They listened politely and said they'd investigate. 2 days later, Brandon called a press conference. Local news cameras showed up at his house. He stood on the porch looking devastated, begging for Emily to come home. If anyone has seen my wife, please call the police. I just want her safe. I want our daughters to have their mother back. He looked like a grieving husband, the perfect victim. But I knew the truth. Emily hadn't left. He'd made her disappear. That afternoon, I found something in my mailbox that made my blood run cold. A child's drawing. Crayon on construction paper. It showed a stick figure man with his mouth open wide, colored in angry red. Next to him, a stick figure woman with blue tears streaming down her face. At the bottom, in Sophia's handwriting, Daddy yells. Mommy cries. My 7-year-old granddaughter had sent me a message. The next day, my phone rang from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer. Grandpa. Emma's tiny voice shaking. Emma, sweetheart, where are you? I'm at my friend Kelsey's house. I told Daddy I was doing homework. Grandpa, I'm scared. Daddy says we can't talk to you anymore. He says you're dangerous. But you're not dangerous. You're Grandpa. Tears filled my eyes. I'm not dangerous, baby. I would never hurt you. Mommy's been crying a lot. And Daddy yells all the time. And he told us you don't love us anymore because we're bad. Emma, listen to me. I love you more than anything in the world. You and Sophia are not bad. You're perfect. And I'm going to fix this, okay? How? I'm going to make sure you're safe. I promise. Grandpa? Daddy says. Her voice dropped to a whisper. Daddy says you're dangerous and we should be afraid of you. He makes us practice saying it. My heart broke. Practice saying what? That you scare us. That you said mean things. But you never did, Grandpa. You never did. I know, sweetheart. I know. The line went dead. She'd hung up quickly. Probably heard someone coming. But now I had proof. Brandon was coaching my grandchildren to lie about me, training them to be afraid of their own grandfather. A week later, the official petition arrived. Brandon was taking me to court. The document was 12 pages long. Accusations of harassment, stalking, mental instability, threats, interference with family life. Everything carefully worded, professionally written. He'd hired an expensive lawyer, someone who knew how to make innocent actions look sinister, someone who could twist the truth until it looked like a lie. The hearing was set for December 14th. 3 weeks away, Brandon's lawyer sent a statement to the judge claiming I was a danger to his family, that I'd been showing up unannounced, sending disturbing messages, making threats, that Emily and the children were terrified of me. They included Emily's signature on an affidavit. But when I looked closely at it, something was wrong. The handwriting looked traced. Too perfect. Too careful. I hired my own lawyer. Frank Morrison was a family law attorney who'd helped my wife's brother through a custody case years ago. He was tough, smart, and he believed me. We're going to fight this, Frank said. But Howard, I need you to understand something. Brandon looks good on paper. Successful businessman. Clean record. No prior complaints. You're the one who looks unstable. I know. So we need evidence. Real evidence. Not just your word against his. I showed him the voicemail from Emily, the fake text messages, the neighbor's testimony, the journal, Mr. Peterson's screenshots, the children's drawing. Frank nodded slowly. This is good. This is very good. But we need more. We need something that proves he's been planning this. I thought about the statement of concern. I have something. Something from months before any of this started. Show me. On December 10th, for days before the hearing, Emily appeared at my door. It was 10:30 at night. I was getting ready for bed when I heard the knock. Quiet, desperate, I opened the door. Emily stood there shaking, wearing only a sweatshirt and jeans. No coat, no shoes. Her feet were bleeding. Dad. She fell into my arms sobbing. I pulled her inside and locked the door. She had bruises on her arms. Fresh ones. Purple and yellow. Finger marks where someone had grabbed her hard. He locked me in the bedroom, she whispered. Took my phone. Took everything. I waited until he fell asleep, and I climbed out the window. I ran here. I didn't know where else to go. You're safe now. You're safe. She pulled something from her pocket. A small flash drive. He thinks he deleted everything. All the recordings. All the photos. All the evidence. But I made a backup. I hid it in the heating vent in Sophia's room. Everything is on here. Dad, everything. I took the flash drive with shaking hands. What's on it? Audio recordings of him rehearsing lies, practicing what he'd say in court, photos of the fake text messages before he sent them, videos of him threatening me, telling me if I ever contacted you, he'd make sure I never saw the girls again. Everything. Emily, we need to call the police. Not yet. Not until after the hearing. He has friends in the department. If we go now, it'll disappear. We have to do this the right way. She was right. We had to be smart. Strategic. I stayed up all night watching the contents of the flash drive. Frank Morrison came over at 6 a.m. We watched together. Audio recording from September 14th. Brandon's voice. I'll tell them he threatened me. I'll show them fake texts. Everyone believes a successful businessman over a bitter old man. This is easy. Recording from October 3rd. Emily, if you contact your father again, I will make sure you never see those girls. I'll prove you're an unfit mother. I'll ruin you. Recording from November 20th. I've been documenting everything, building a case. The court will believe me. I always win. I always do. Photo file showing Brandon's computer screen with text message editing software open. Screenshots of him creating fake conversations from my phone number. Video from their home security camera, showing Brandon grabbing Emily's arm and shaking her. Her crying. Him laughing. This isn't sloppy, Frank said quietly. This is practice. He's done this before. Multiple times. His first wife, I said, probably others too. Frank copied everything onto 3 separate drives. This changes everything. But Howard, we can't reveal this until the perfect moment. If we show our hand too early, he'll find a way to discredit it. When? In court. When he's already committed to his lies. When he's already presented his fake evidence. Then we destroy him. Frank hired a digital forensics expert named Dr. Alan Chin. He examined every file on Emily's flash drive. 3 days later, he gave us his report. The text messages were created using SMS spoofing software. The metadata shows they were generated on Brandon Pierce's laptop, not sent from Howard's phone. The timestamps were manually altered. The screenshots were edited using Photoshop. I can prove all of it. Can you testify in court? Frank asked. Absolutely. And I can show the judge exactly how he did it. These fabrications weren't sloppy. They were sophisticated. Professional grade. This man has done this before. Probably many times. We had everything. Brandon's own words condemning him. Digital evidence of his lies. Expert testimony. Emily's statement. The children's testimony if needed. But we still had one more weapon. The statement of concern I'd filed 4 months before any of this began. Before the fake texts. Before the harassment claims. Before anything. That statement would prove I'd seen the danger coming. That I'd tried to protect my daughter. That I was the only one telling the truth from the very beginning. December 14th arrived. The courtroom was cold. I sat next to Frank Morrison at the defendant's table. Across the aisle, Brandon sat with his lawyer, looking confident, smug, like this was already over. Emily sat in the back row. She'd been staying with me since that night she escaped. The girls were with Amanda, Safe and away from Brandon, the judge entered. The Honorable Patricia Whitmore. She'd been on the bench for 20 years. Frank said she didn't tolerate lies. Brandon's lawyer stood first. He presented his case smoothly, professional, convincing. Your Honor, Mr. Pierce has been subjected to months of harassment from his father-in-law, threatening messages, unwanted visits, stalking behavior. My client fears for his family's safety. He showed the fake text messages, the edited photos, Emily's forged statement. Judge Whitmore examined everything carefully. Her face was neutral, unreadable. Mr. Pierce, she said, this is very serious. Can you verify these messages are authentic? Brandon stood. Yes, Your Honor. Howard has been unstable since his wife died. He's become obsessed with controlling our family. I had no choice but to seek protection. I see. The judge made notes. And your wife supports these claims? Yes, Your Honor. She's terrified of him. Frank stood slowly. Your Honor, may I present evidence? Proceed. Frank handed the flash drive to the bailiff. Your Honor, this contains audio recordings of Mr. Pierce rehearsing his testimony, planning his false accusations, creating fake evidence. We also have expert testimony proving the text messages were fabricated. Brandon's face went white. His lawyer started to object, but the court clerk interrupted. Your Honor, there's something else. A prior document on file. Everyone turned. The clerk held up a yellow form. A statement of concern was filed by Mr. Howard 4 months ago, long before any of these alleged incidents occurred. The clerk brought the statement to Judge Whitmore. She read it carefully. Her expression changed. Harden, Mr. Pierce, this statement was filed in August. It describes concerning behavior you displayed toward your wife and children, controlling conduct, isolation tactics, verbal aggression. Mr. Howard documented his concerns months before you filed this petition against him. Brandon's lawyer tried to speak. Your Honor, that statement is irrelevant. It's absolutely relevant. Judge Whitmore said sharply. It establishes a timeline. It proves Mr. Howard's concerns existed long before he supposedly began this alleged harassment. It suggests his actions weren't harassment at all. They were protective. She looked at the clerk. Play the recordings. The courtroom listened to Brandon's voice. Planning, lying, threatening, laughing about how easy it would be to manipulate the court. Brandon's face crumbled. His lawyer sat down heavily. Your Honor, I can explain. Brandon started. You'll have your chance to explain to law enforcement. Judge Whitmore said coldly. Bailiff, please note that I'm ordering an immediate investigation into evidence tampering, perjury, and possible domestic violence. I'm also issuing an emergency protective order for Mrs. Pierce and her children. She turned to me. Mr. Howard, I apologize. This court was almost deceived by a very calculated scheme. Your statement of concern saved your daughter's life. Thank you for having the foresight to document the truth. Brandon stood up shouting. This isn't over. You can't. Sit down, Mr. Pierce. The judge's voice was ice. Or I'll hold you in contempt. The hearing lasted 3 more hours. Dr. Chin testified about the fake messages. Emily testified about the abuse. Mr. Peterson testified about the edited screenshots. Amanda provided the journal. Everything came together. The lies, the manipulation, the years of control. Judge Whitmore's final ruling was decisive. I find that Mr. Pierce fabricated evidence, lied under oath, and engaged in a systematic pattern of abuse and manipulation. All claims against Mr. Howard are dismissed with prejudice. Full custody of the minor children is awarded to Mrs. Pierce. Mr. Pierce will have supervised visitation only, pending completion of a psychological evaluation and domestic violence intervention program. She paused. Furthermore, I'm referring this case to the prosecutor's office for criminal charges. Evidence tampering and perjury are serious crimes. Brandon was escorted out by the bailiff. He turned back once, his face twisted with rage. This isn't over, he shouted. I'll appeal. I'll fight this. The courtroom doors closed behind him. The sound echoed through the room. Emily grabbed my hand. She was crying. So was I. Thank you, Dad. Thank you for not giving up on me. Never, I said. I would never give up on you. Frank Morrison packed his briefcase. Howard, that statement you filed might have saved more than just your family. The prosecutor wants to investigate Brandon's first wife's case. There might be other victims. Justice wasn't just for us. It was for everyone Brandon had hurt. 3 months later, I stood at the playground watching Sophia and Emma on the swings. Their laughter filled the air. Pure, joyful, safe. Emily sat next to me on the bench. She looked different now. Healthier. The fear was gone from her eyes. She'd started therapy. The girls were in counseling too. Healing took time, but they were healing. Dad, I want you to know something, Emily said. That statement you filed? I didn't know about it until the hearing. You saw what was happening before I even admitted it to myself. You protected me when I couldn't protect myself. I'm your father. It's what fathers do. Not all fathers. She squeezed my hand. Most would have given up. Most would have believed the lies. You didn't. You fought for us. Sophia ran over, breathless and smiling. Grandpa, watch me go high. She ran back to the swings. Emma followed, giggling. I thought about everything we'd been through. The lies, the fear, the fight. It had been worth it. Every moment, every battle. Emily leaned her head on my shoulder. Are we safe now, Dad? Really safe. I watched my granddaughters playing. Free. Happy. Together. Yes, sweetheart. We finally are. Sophia called out again. Grandpa, higher. I stood up and walked toward the swings. Emma grabbed my hand, trusting and warm. Sophia beamed at me with pure love. This was what mattered, not the court battles or the victory. This, family, truth, love. Brandon had tried to destroy us. Instead, he'd only made us stronger, and we were finally, truly safe.